Takayanagi is at 3-1, so still has a little bit of wiggle room there, but if we do see Roberto win this match, he will secure a spot in Top Cut tomorrow and start to play for seeding. So yeah, going forward with that too though, I think continuing on with the point, it's so exciting. We just had a match this past round where players were having their first World Championship experience.
Yeah, definitely. It's an experience you would never forget, right? You can't really emulate it at any other level of competitive Pokemon. You can do well at a local tournament or, Top Cut a regional championship, and those are obviously great accomplishments that you can be very proud of, but there really is nothing like the pressure of the international stage and especially the world championship stage. And then for Roberto, this could, who knows, it could be the start of another addition to the long line of Italian VGC players that have performed exceptionally well at the international level, multiple international championships, multiple world championship Top Cuts, a world championship as well from Italy about, counting right a decade ago at this point. So this could be just another name added to the big historic, VGC Italian player base.
Yeah, I mean, just the Italian region as a whole has just been so incredible to watch, as they've always been such a passionate community and also a very creative one. And so we're going to go ahead and look at what these teams are as we take a look at Roberto Parente's team, and we see hyper offense straight away.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome to see, as we've seen so much of the Groudon versus Kyogre matchup so far on stream today. Now we're going to switch it up with Torkoal Venusaur, a throwback to formats past in other years where you could go with Torkoal using its drought ability, setting up the sun, and then Venusaur with that chlorophyll, doubling its speed in the sun and being just a complete nuisance either with Gigantamax damage or with Sleep Powder. And then on Roberto's side, those are some of the fastest Pokemon you'll see in the entire format.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some key differences here. I'm also looking at speed control. You've got the Whimsicott with the Tailwind for that hyper offense team, but on Yosuke's team, I look at that Porygon 2 and I question whether it has Trick Room access to be able to swap the speeds to take away that type of advantage that Roberto may have by having this super fast core of Pokemon. And you're going to see that double restricted pair right away here from Roberto with that Shadow Rider Calyrex next to that Kyogre, but taking a bit more of a supportive route here from Yosuke, looking at the Incineroar and of course that Porygon 2.
Roberto going all in on turn 1 of game 1 of this round with his 2 restricted there, and it makes sense because Calyrex, Shadow Rider, and Kyogre are, 2 of the best special attackers you could probably build on any of your teams. The unfortunate part for Calyrex and Roberto is you're facing against a Porygon who is a normal type, who's immune to the Astral Barrage, and an Incineroar who is a dark type that resists and also can hit you back for 4 times super effective damage with any dark move that Incineroar is deciding here. So I don't know if this is the safest moment for Roberto to have his Calyrex Shadow Rider on the field. So that could give Yosuke a lot of areas to just pressure down the Kyogre and lower its HP to hinder the Water Spout damage.
Wow, look at that. It's going to be a Side Shock just to be able to get that target damage down onto the Porygon 2, and it's enough to be able to secure the knockout right away with the Water Spout. But also you can see that the Focus Sash there on the Incineroar will keep it around, but a great way to shut down the Porygon 2 so early.
And that was Life Orb on the Kyogre there that let it do so much damage.
Yeah, but are you happy with this trade? Taking the Darkest Lariat and knocking out the Shadow Rider Calyrex, it's going to be 1 Pokemon down a piece here for both Roberto and Yosuke, where they have to look at what is going to come out next.
That's tough to call that an equivalent exchange, as you traded your restricted Pokemon in Calyrex Shadow Rider for the Porygon 2. You did, however, bring the Incineroar down to its Focus Sash, so you kind of got like, 1 KO and then 99% of it. But that 1 pesky HP could be important later on for Yosuke, because you can always pivot Incineroar out to save it for Intimidates later on or a Fake Out Pressure later. Roberto switching Landorus into the slot. Haven't seen too much Landorus in the months coming up in Series 12 here, so I wonder, as Etherean form, this Incineroar or the Intimidate is not mattering too much into either of these Pokemon. So Landorus, typically, if we do see it, it is a strong Dynamax option on teams, but Roberto deciding not yet.
Well, I think it's really tough to keep that Landorus in the face of an opposing Kyogre, and also kind of really like the idea that you get the Psychic Surge on the field, because if you have any priority, it's going to get a little crazy here, as that Indeedee also you see that Psychic Seed activated to be able to increase that special defense, which is another great way to shore up some of this special attack damage that's going to be coming in from the Kyogre across the way, and now the Venusaur as well that just pivoted in.
Yeah, and then because of that special defense boost like you're talking about, if you're ever getting hit by single target special attacks, it's going to be even more, it's going to take longer to knock out that Indeedee female, so you can keep using Follow Me or whatever moves you want to go for with its great access to many supportive moves there. It might not matter too much against Origin Pulses and Water Spouts, but because Kyogre Dynamax, now it has to use single target attacks.
It absolutely does. Kyogre is going to lose a little bit of its HP there, but you can also see that Yosuke will go for the Max Geyser. Indeedee, though, wow,
Ooh.
Despite that special defense boost, is still going to take a huge chunk of damage.
That's what we call calculated in the business, because Roberto knew his Indeedee at the +1 special defense would be able to survive the Max Geyser in the rain there. So it's a very smart play from them, because obviously you don't want Landorus to eat a Max Geyser to the face like that. So you would rather the Indeedee, who really is just a supportive Pokemon. It's already at 12 HP. What would be really valuable for Roberto is to force Kyogre on Yosuke's side to waste its next turn of Dynamax because of Follow Me, making it so that it would be redirected towards that spot. And especially because the Venusaur is not attacking either. Now if Kyogre does attack, it has to go into the Indeedee.
Yeah, look at that Follow Me. Right as you called it, it will be able to mitigate another turn of Max from this Kyogre, but Roberto's Kyogre going for a Water Spout here and just gonna try to keep getting some amounts of damage onto the opposing Kyogre on Yosuke's side. It's still relatively healthy, but this Max Geyser as well, just gonna get the knockout onto this Indeedee, and just like that, Roberto is down to his final 2 Pokemon here, that Landorus in the back.
I'm just thinking here with Kyogre often struggles from the 4 move slot syndrome of trying to fit all of its move coverage. You want Water Spout, you want Origin Pulse, Ice Beam, Protect, Thunder, Hyper Beam sometimes if you're Assault vested. So to go for the Water Spout in front of a Venusaur and a Dynamax Kyogre there makes me think possibly Roberto does not have access to the Thunder in the rain that would be super effective towards that Kyogre. So it's going to take somebody else on Roberto's side, and seeing a Landorus who doesn't want to face Kyogre and then a no Thunder Kyogre for Roberto as well would be proving very difficult, as well as the Venusaur who's still around, and then in the back Yosuke has that 1 HP Incineroar to fake out as well. Like, I really think Yosuke's put himself in a strong spot because Roberto hasn't been able to get rid of that Kyogre yet.
Yeah, I mean, that Kyogre is just finding a lot of value on both sides, really. I mean, you see the Max Geysers coming out from Yosuke. Yes, I think the Indeedee was able to provide a lot of defensive support, just being able to take away that targeting from its partner. But, you know, Yosuke still has some pivoting, and there you go. That Incineroar that was able to hang on from its Focus Sash, it gets to come in with that Intimidate to drop this Landorus's attack. That's going to be big, especially when you're looking at a Dynamax here on Roberto's side that hasn't been used that, and it could be that Landorus.
Yeah, Landorus Max Airstream is, you know, arguably the best Dynamax attack in the game, and that is what we're going to see the Dynamax Landorus in this spot. If it went into the 1 HP Incineroar, obviously it's going to be a KO, but importantly, it would give those speed buffs as well. So if it does come down to some weird Kyogre mirror situations, it would be faster. We are not going to see that, though. Instead, there's more value in the Max Quake for the special defense boost.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, even though this Kyogre on Yosuke's side is incredibly bulky, it has been able to withstand a bunch of attacks at this point, but you also see the Origin Pulse. It's a double connect here.
Yeah, thankfully for Roberto, it's a double connect, because that could have been very risky. I know Kyogre doesn't have max HP, but you would have been able to do the 1 damage you needed from Water Spout, but it works out.
Does work out, but whoa, Landorus right there. Super effective Max Geyser, going to take it out immediately. And despite those Max Quake boosts coming through, it just wasn't enough to deal with the power that's coming out from Yosuke's Kyogre.
Yeah, it's tough as the Landorus. You don't have any way super effectively to hit Yosuke's Kyogre there, and because of Venusaur switching out, if you wanted to max Airstream into that slot, you were just essentially sacrificing the Incineroar into that slot, so you still had Venusaur, who can be pretty fast out here, and Venusaur definitely is okay facing down against the Kyogre there. So now it is down to Roberto and his Kyogre by himself, having to rely on an Origin Pulse if it even gets the chance if Venusaur doesn't knock it out first.
Right. Well, it looks like it's just going to play it safe here. The Protect coming through first, maybe just trying to feel out a little bit about what is going to be happening from this Venusaur. But you can see the Frenzy Plant and the Origin Pulse both getting mitigated by the Protect here. And also the rain is going to stop.
Right, the rain's going to stop. That actually hurts both of them there. But again, back to the Max Quake turn. If that Max Airstream was there, Kyogre would be +1 speed and faster than both of Yosuke's Pokemon. It still might not matter because of the resisted attacks there, but that would have been a way to ensure you won the speed tie.
Well, even if it is a speed tie, we don't really know how these Kyogre are trained just yet. In a lot of these big turns previously, we have seen that Roberto's Kyogre has been able to get the attack off first, and so it's going to do the same thing. It does get the double connect with the Origin Pulse, and it is going to bring both targets so low, but now you really are relying on misses here. The Frenzy Plant connecting though, and it will be enough to knock out Roberto's Kyogre, so Yosuke takes game number 1.
Yep. Yosuke deciding to protect on the last turn of rain ensured he was able to win that game. So beautifully played, waiting to your outcomes. You don't want to risk anything, and it actually looked like, because the Kyogre was faster, if the rain was still up, that would have been a double KO and a big comeback for Roberto.
Yeah, so that feels like a little bit of a misplay there from Roberto. You know, maybe not counting the number of rain turns that were left because he protected that Kyogre. And if he hadn't done that, then yeah, that would have been potentially a double knockout. But you never know with the accuracy of the Origin Pulse if that is something that you would be able to guarantee yourself.
And that is the game we play, that there are such minute differences in decisions that you can make that completely alter the outcome.